Sure is nice to be sailing again. It's been a little while. Just heading over to Great Barrier to finish fixing that boat. So many boats that you're fixing. Just come from Browns Bay. Browns Bay is one of Auckland's best kept secrets. It took me years to discover it. Browns Bay has shelter to west, often westerly. It has the closest supermarket to an anchorage in this whole area. At high tide, there's a stream, and you can paddle up the stream, and the stream goes right next to the supermarket. So you can tie up, jump over the fence, and then you're in the car park. Very convenient. One of the things that's really fantastic about having a catamaran, no goddamn spinnaker pole. Here I am sailing wing and wing. Because the boat's so wide, all I need is barber hauler and the jib stays out perfectly, no problem at all. Also with the dual main sheets, I just disconnect one and clip it on over here, and I've got an instant jibe preventer. My self-steering contraption doing its job. Expect a video coming up on this. First time back at Mihi in some months. Planning to get it back in the water within a couple of days. Now, how much water is inside? Not much. That's good. There. Big job today. I'm gonna rebed the chain plates, which means dismantling everything. At the end of my last visit, I had discovered that the chain plates which hold on the cross beams were leaking. First, study how the lashing works. So it just goes down in there, up through that, and then cinched. Some of the sides, and then these hold together by a little metal pin and just sit in there. It's one down, so there's 8 lashings to hold the armour on. A little bit on the complicated side. Okay. Nearly got it out. I just need to tap that out. It would be easier if that was a proper bolt. Got to here. Unfortunately, it's really quite heavy. Just found that. That's good luck. Well, I got the bolts out quite easily. This is working. Based on how much more easily this one came up, I'm inclined to think this one was leaking. I didn't even put the crowbar on it, just my foot. Yeah, that seems a bit thin. Also got a little bit of structural failure there. Nothing that's too difficult to fix though. I've made a significant upgrade to my electrical propulsion system. This baby can apparently go to 2000 watts. Okay, full power. We're going 4 knots according to the GPS. which that's enough. I mean, that's enough for me. It's like a little friend. Are you okay? It's going 2 and a bit, 2.5. Totally fine speed for just getting across the bay. This guy looks like he wants to hide in a hole. One thing my little other motors sometimes struggle to do was turn through the wind. That's just a matter of speed because these rudders are not very responsive unless you're moving, but 2.5 knots, that seemed to do it.
I think a problem with this kind of design is that it relies on sealant, but the sealant doesn't actually get compressed by the attachment.
Well, it's good that I took it apart because this rot problem was not obvious. The way that these armour mounts chain plates go through into the bulkhead, this isn't actually a structural problem, but of course deck leak is a problem. Okay, some good news. Looks like this was all epoxy and the rot hasn't gone through that, of course. I recently purchased a cordless multi-tool, discovering that these were so incredibly useful for jobs like this. Looks like the cross beams are lashed through a hole and then through the side of the boat. I don't really want it for the side of the boat because water would come in. It's better for the deck. I think I'd rather have Warren style with the cleat on the outside. So I have to fill that hole, and then if I'm going to put like a lashing point down here, outside lashing point that won't leak, I'm going to have to remove some of this. And then the bulkhead's right through here, glue here, and like lots of screws going all the way through. And this part of the boat isn't glassed, which means that I don't have to worry about the delamination that we see somewhere else. It's just going to glue to the wood, which I'm more confident about. The tie points will come down here, the crossbeam will go on top, it'll come up here, and then it'll come around the edge and then down along the surface. Tie point is in shear, so it'll be trying to like pull the whole thing off. So making it longer will make it much stronger. Also, I'm going to put screws through. Engineering a thing like this, just make it as safe as possible. It's really hard to calculate the combined strength of screws with the wood and the glue and all that sort of stuff. Like make it so one bolt fails. Like that's already the safety margin, a single bolt. Oh, it's going to be screws, but then you've got all these other layers, the glue and the thing. So you can have you have a lower bound of like this is safe, that strength is safe. And if it's actually safer than that, it's free safety. I decided this wood was a little bit splintery. I had another piece of wood I had on board that I think I trust more. This plywood is really hard, good quality stuff with a lot of layers. Wood going that way, engineered wood. I'm going to make it out of this. Also, I had a look in the boat and I had these big brass screws, basically the same ones holding on the lashing points on this, on my big boat. I'm not worried they'll be strong enough. Okay, I'm going to use the big ones on the inside. It's got to be stronger. And I've got these stainless steel ones too. I'm going to put the brass ones on the bottom, stainless steel ones on the top. I just noticed that the forward beam is actually a lot thicker. That's the rear beam. Now, one possible way for this to fail would be a compressor failure. So if the wood was to squish, that would make the lashing loose. And I'm going to consider that a failure. It wouldn't be a very severe failure. We're going to set lower bounds. So that got me thinking, now what would be the best shape for the edge? We want to spread the load out as evenly as possible. So I think it's not a circle, because that would actually pull hardest in the middle, less and less on the outside. So it would be like heaps in the middle and less outside. I think it's like a circle, but it's a bit flatter. So if you had a flat rectangle but with rounded corners, the top edge of the top would have all the pressure. Then the rope would just be in tension and there'd be no pressure on the wood in the middle. It's some other shape, like perhaps it's probably a catenary curve.
probably a little bit, make it a little bit rounder than that. Let's see how our little friend is doing. You hurt? I don't see how it's obviously injured. But why would it land on the boat otherwise? Something like this eats fish, right? Probably just gets all of his liquid by eating fish. But I'm going to make him a bowl of water because I can't really think of anything else that's useful. Sort of occurred to me that maybe our little friend just kind of fell into the cockpit and isn't sure how to get out. So I'm going to try and just like lift him out somewhere where it's like obvious escape. It wants to burrow. It's just found another hiding place. Okay, I guess it lives on my boat now. That's him swimming away. He just jumped off the boat. Be free, little bird. Prepping to fill this hole, all the holes, and then I found more rock. There we go. Okay, this wood's a little bit damp, but yeah, I need to cut more out there. Luckily, this boat's relatively new, not even 10 years old, so the rot hasn't gone very far. Okay, patch is all ready. Next, I'm going to drill these. Now, I decided I'm going to use those big screws to actually hold it in, but I'm going to use a smaller screw just to align it. Did not go as smoothly as I hoped, but the new tie points are in and I think they'll be strong. So it's actually election day today, and the nearest port is a nautical mile that way, plus 5 kilometres on land. So I'm going to go in this thing. I'm probably going to be the person who's travelled the furthest in combined kayak and bicycle to vote today. The kayak's floating upright with the bicycle on it. That means it's tied on good. Part 2. You've actually been to this part of Barry before. So it's like real travelling. This hill was quite a bit bigger than I thought. Okay, today's big job is to put the rudder back together. Okay, coming up with a plan for the rudder. So I don't think I really like this rudder design. I think it would be better to have one that was like on the edge here and then have a lee board up there that was in line with it. So I have to cut out this curve and match it on that side, but I just realised this doesn't all match up perfectly. The holes aren't straight. That's because they're not straight on the rudder thing. So what I'm going to do is cut out this side, and then I'm going to bolt it back together. Then I'm going to measure how closely it lines up on the other side. So I just sort of freehanded that. I'm just going to bolt it together and then cut it out and then grind it until it fits. The curved bits actually just cup that, they don't slide on it, so It actually pivots on this bit there. Screwed these back on to the same holes, but doesn't work. Doesn't. It's the wrong size on both sides. But what I'll just do is once it's glued together, I'll just screw those on with new holes. Okay, I have the rudder case assembled, and I'm going to see if I can attach it to this with it clamped together. Because if that works, I'll be able to glue it together on the bench, not on the boat, which will be a bit easier. Perfect. All right, that's awesome. Fiberglass these holes, and I glued the rudder together. It was now time to reassemble the boat. That meant pulling it down onto the beach where there's room to work and a relatively level surface. It's a bit rusty. Tied up a bit on the beam so I can so it doesn't tip over. Just about floating. Okay, ready to do the first test. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
1, 2, 3. You just do it when the wave comes. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Woohoo!
You jump on and I'll push you out. Well done.
Oh, she's floating.
Okay, it goes quite well. Thanks very much for that.
No problem.
It's like speed 1. Speed. Going 3 knots and playing a little bit, which is perfect. This funny outboard for 3 knots, very happy with that. I think that's going to make this actually a pretty good boat. Especially if I'm thinking a hatch, a decent hatch, not this stupid thing, over this, and then a little cabin here. There's a lot of weight that could come off this boat as well. Just drove it to the beach and it parked pretty nicely. Just doing a little bit of quad raft sailing. Going 4 knots right now. We moved down to a more sheltered anchorage where I could rig the boat. That'll be in the next episode. Thanks for watching.